Mass Radio Show and Podcast. I am your host, Richard Franzi, and this is episode number 1073. And ooh, do we have a good show planned for you today. I've invited Mike Meyer, who is the managing principal for TwinRock Partners, to join us today. He leads a real estate company that focuses on the unique opportunities and by providing the best-in-class management services to their investors. Since 2006, the company has invested nearly $750 million, and that's why I've asked Michael to come here today and kind of discuss more about the company's services and how their clients benefit from working with them. Michael, welcome to Critical Mass Radio Show and Podcast.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, you got a radio voice, dude. That's awesome. you maybe start hosting your own show when this is all over. Before we get into talking about the firm, let's talk a little bit about you and kind of your professional background. Maybe you might even have an interesting story that we could learn about you from.
Well, I don't know about story, but my claim to fame is I came down from L.A. and started an accounting firm in Orange County, which I was in accounting for 40 years.
Okay.
And that firm became the biggest and best, we thought, I think most people did, real estate accounting and consulting advisory firm.
Uh-huh.
So I came down with the firm in L.A., the name was Kenneth Leventhal and Company.
Sure.
And that firm was just, I was an early partner, it was just one office, and then we were expanding, we opened this one. So Ken had great virtues and a business style that I picked up on, and our general philosophy was, accountants can be kind of boring. Putting together,
You said that, not me.
Putting together the numbers.
Okay.
But it's also a very intimate involvement with clients.
Yes,
You're
it
involved
is.
with how much they make and how much they're worth. And so we use that involvement to be more forward planners. So with that knowledge of what was going on in their lives, we could help them from a tax point of view. We could help them defer taxes, pay less taxes. From a business point of view, we could help them structure financial structures, get financing, structure their entity to make more money. So that was our attitude. We came down here, and we wanted to be, and we were the best. We were the pros at real estate. So any real estate company, probably your landlord here, or at least whoever owned the land.
Sure.
The major landowners, the major shopping center developers, office building developers, apartment developers, home builders, they tended to be either clients or they'd want to at least talk to us about what they were doing.
Wow.
And we were a bunch of oddball but good, smart people.
Uh-huh.
And with an attitude of dropping anything to take care of a client.
Customer
They work
service.
day and night. Even if it wasn't a client, the attitude was to help out entrepreneurs that were in real estate, maybe make introductions, whatever it might be.
Awesome.
And it turned out, it paid off. We were very successful. Unlike a lot of professional firms today, are very fee oriented. They want to make sure they're being paid for every hour that they spend. We weren't really like that. We were more concerned with the relationships, and then if it was a client, doing anything we could to take care of them. And if we brought the value, they were willing to pay the fee.
Sure. So how does that translate to TwinRock Partners now and kind of the markets that you serve? What is the area that your company is focused on? We call it the niche here in Critical Mass Radio Show.
No, niches are good. And what happened was Leventhal Company ended up merging with EY, which is one of the four big firms. And in those firms, you retire when you're 60. So I was an EY partner for 3 years. And then I wasn't ready to retire, but I was old enough to retire.
Okay.
So instead of retiring, I just used all the contacts I had and reputation and knowledge in real estate and started helping different people get involved with different real estate deals. So I didn't do what you said I should do, which is find my niche.
Okay.
So I just kind of took what came along. And one of the early deals that came along was an opportunity to buy a huge portfolio of performing real estate loans
Mm-hmm.
in Japan. And that was $1.6 billion. And me and a few other people put together the group, bought that portfolio. We had help from EY to do the due diligence, translate everything from Japanese to English. But that was one of a big transactions we did. I spent about 3 years back and forth in Japan. Then I got involved with some land deals when the dairylands in the inland area were converting from dairies to houses, and some large developers tied up big pieces of land and created master plan communities. But I was able to tie up some in between dairies. So we got those approved for housing, sold them to builders, and that was really good.
Wow.
Got involved during the recession. We bought some loans that were secured by apartments in the Southwest. Got involved in office buildings. So I was kind of bopping around, and then I realized, I wanted a little more structure in my life. So we formed TwinRock Partners 12 years ago with my partner Alex Phillips. And that we started focusing more on opportunistic real estate to acquire and to bring in accredited investors, high net worth individuals, and put together pools of investors and assets. So the first thing we did were buying foreclosed homes, and that was when it was towards the end of the recession, but we did it, with hindsight, that was an obvious thing to do because the values were so phenomenal.
Right.
But at the time, it was hard to convince people it made sense because everybody was suffering from the problems.
Yes.
And we did a lot of research and decided we'd go into the inland area, which was Riverside and Riverside counties, and San Bernardino. And we bought homes. So we also researched whether we should be flipping, which some people were doing, buying homes, fix them up, and put them back in the market, or renting them out. And we decided, there would be a lot more of a stable business and a lot less risky to rent them out.
Sure.
Because the demand was there. All these people were lost their home and they had to live somewhere.
Right.
So we did that. We bought quite a few hundred homes. Then we got involved with another strategy that was pretty interesting but complicated. We started buying homes in Nevada that were being foreclosed upon by HOA, homeowner associations. So Nevada law is unique where 9 months worth of dues, which usually that'd be $50-$60 a month, so it's not a lot of money.
Right.
But that 9 months worth of dues became a senior priority lien.
Oh my God.
So legally, senior priority lien means it's like the first mortgage. So behind that was maybe a $200,000 bank loan.
Wow.
But when in foreclosure, if the senior lien forecloses, the junior lien is wiped out. So that was, the banks couldn't believe the law really worked that way.
I can see why.
And so it wasn't resolved in the courts, but we did quite a bit of research. We had a young lawyer in our office that was helping us with that, as well as Las Vegas lawyers. And the chances seemed pretty good that would be the result, but we were able to buy those for 15 cents on the dollar.
Oh my God. We're talking with Mike Meyer, and he's managing partner for TwinRock Partners. We're going to take our first and only break here on Critical Mass Radio Show. And so I don't want you to go anywhere out there in the listening audience, because we come back. I noticed that your firm accepts Bitcoin.
Well, we do, but that we're not really. That was a Reg A, is what we call it.
Okay.
And that we're probably not going to pursue.
Okay, so that's one of the things that I wanted to ask you about after the break. We don't have to, but ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're going to have another 10-minute conversation with Mr. Meyer after this word from me. Our guests is sign up for our weekly newsletter. If you simply go to our company's website, criticalmass4business.com, at the bottom of any page is a Join Our Mailing List box. Simply enter your email address, hit subscribe. Like magic, you'll start receiving our weekly newsletter that highlights the great and interesting guests that we have planned for that week. That's all we do with your email address is we enter you in so that you can get the weekly newsletter, which you can opt out of at any time, and I hope you will decide to subscribe. As I said before the break, our guest in this segment is Mike Meyer. He is the managing partner for TwinRock Partners. I'm wondering, as you've grown the firm and the investment pool, as the managing partner, what steps are you taking to make sure that your company is still kind of nimble in how you work with your investors and taking advantage of market opportunities as you scale?
Well, I mean, like I say, we are opportunistic, so we have to keep our eyes on what makes sense in the marketplace.
Right.
And for example, on the homes that we bought, we've now decided to sell the homes except for the HOA homes in Nevada. So we've actually liquidated all of our funds that went into homes.
Okay.
But while we were in that business, it's very management intensive. We had to go out to the foreclosure sales, meet with the person that was living in the house or the person that just lost their home, figure out if they're going to stay or leave, renovate the home, lease it up. It was a lot to do.
Right.
The way we've approached things, in a way I've always approached things, is to have a lean and mean team, but to have a real, everything's about people, to have people generally that are homegrown, that are feeling like part of the company, willing to work extra time if they need to and do what they need to do to get things done.
Right.
Because if you end up with too much of a machine, too much overhead, when you're contracting, selling off homes, you're kind of locked into something that you don't want to have.
Okay.
But we've been monitoring the markets. We've gone into different types of products like the HOA homes that I mentioned, and
Are there
doing
still
the best we can to manage what we have.
So those examples that you gave were like great buying opportunities to get an asset base that was really under market as the market came back. Are there different type of opportunities now that you're seeing in real estate across the country? And if so, where are you looking for opportunity for your investors?
Well, we're not buying a lot right now. I mean, real estate, like it's a great asset class to be in, and it's very difficult for Joe Blow to get into that. If you don't know the business, it's hard to get into it, except maybe buying a home next door and renting it out.
Right.
But what's good about real estate is that it's a solid asset, and if it's income property, it generates cash flow. So it's something that has real value as opposed to bitcoins or even a new software idea, whatever it may be.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's a big ticket item. Even buying a home is a lot.
Right.
So generally, you're going to borrow money as part of the investment, and that's a good thing because interest rates have been so low that they're lower than the cash yield on the property. But it can also be a bad thing because the more you borrow, the riskier it is. And real estate's cyclical. When interest rates go up, values tend to go down.
Right.
Cap rates, the return on the property tends to go up.
Uh-huh.
So it's a balancing act to try to go in at the right time and not over-lever, and then get out at the right time and not get too anxious to buy when prices are high like they are right now.
Right. And so you're watching the market right now.
We're watching the market.
Okay. If Michael Gerber, you might be familiar with the author, he wrote the book E-Myth, talks about how important it is for entrepreneurs like you and me and Paul to not only work in the business, but to work on the business, to treat it as a distinct entity and make sure that you are running it with an outside perspective. So I guess my only question, Michael, is do you spend any time, or what time do you spend outside of the TwinRock Partners kind of working on yourself as the managing partner for that?
Well, that's a broad question. I think I've always been, very involved in the community. And, of course, in the real estate arena, that meant the professional associations, and it meant the university's real estate program, be on the advisory board of that. United Way real estate program, or I was a chair of the Lexus de Tofo, which is a big hitter, donations into United Way, but a lot of real estate people get involved in that. And then, in my view, now that I'm supposed to be in retirement age,
Right.
even though TwinRock's full time, I've been on the board of 3 real estate investment trusts, and I'm on the board of a bank, and so I'm pretty active, staying out there and trying to make sure I have my pulse on how other people are thinking and what's going on in the world.
That's awesome. So the last question for you is, we've written a book here at Critical Mass called The Guiding Principles, based on this question that we've asked a number of our guests. Of all the things you've learned then, Michael, in your career, have you developed sort of a philosophy, a guiding principle for how you're leading and growing TwinRock Partners? And if you have that overarching philosophy, would you share it with our audience?
Well, my philosophy is all about people. So you're to care about other people and try to make sure that everybody that you're working with cares about other people. So in a business, the business is the people.
Yes.
But if the people have an attitude of just kind of wanting to come in and punch a time clock and collect a check, that's not the kind of people that I want to have. I want to have team players. In our business, the people also are the customers, which are the tenants or the people that were living in the homes or apartments that we have. But the people are also the investors. So all of that, as long as you're running a business where you're trying to give the best break to everybody that's involved, it's hard. Being successful in anything it can be a lot of fun, but it also takes a lot of work.
Yes.
And so that's the attitude. Make sure we do the best we can.
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you for being a friend of the program and welcome you to the Critical Mass community here now by virtue of you being a guest on our radio platform.
Well, thanks for having me.
And I understand what you said before. You are a listener of the program?
I am a listener. In fact, I was just listening to a company I invested in.
Oh, wow.
That you talked to.
Okay, yeah. You struck me as a lifelong learner when we met each other at the luncheon that we were at. So I'm glad Critical Mass is a part of your listening portfolio now.
Yeah, no, it keeps me young, so I'm a podcast listener too.
That's awesome.
I know
All
how
right.
to find it.
Yes. That's great. Well, I'd like to thank Paul Roberts, our engineer for today's show, and our 3 producers. This show wouldn't be possible without Joan Park, Crystal Nunley, and Haley Stern. If you'd like to connect with me on social media, start with Twitter. My handle is CEO Peer Groups, CEO Peer Groups. On LinkedIn, would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. I'm Richard Franzi, Franzi. And our website is simple, criticalmass4business.com. And until our next show, I hope all of your business decisions will move your company in a positive direction.